We are back from our extended July 4th break, but don't worry, we are keeping the party going here in Paradise. Welcome to round 3 of the BSR Summer Series here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway for the High Roller 200 live on JCTV. In the shadow of the Nellis Air Force Base, this track opened 55 years ago at this point, although it wasn't until about 30 years ago that it took its current shape as a 1.5 mile speedway. And ever since then, it had become a mainstay on the NASCAR calendar. Fairly high banking here of 20 degrees means that you can carry a lot of speed through the corners, but of course with the higher power that we're running, there is going to be more lifting than you would otherwise see in trucks of this type. And of course the main story tonight will be track temperature. The Mojave is not a hospitable place at the best of times, and in mid-July it is going to be very tricky indeed. Air temp currently here in Las Vegas is 90 degrees Fahrenheit, about 32 Celsius, and when we talk about track temp, it is 122 or 50 in Celsius. About 3:30 local time here, so hopefully it will cool off a little bit as we get through the afternoon, but it is going to be a hot one, and managing your tires on this tricky asphalt is going to be critical to your success. The top two in the points right now, of course, are Fidel Fabian and Justin Duran. They lead the way after wins in the opening 2 rounds, but there is still plenty of time to place your name into the contenders list, and a win tonight would be the perfect step on that road. About 90 seconds left in final practice here. Let's bring up the table so we can see who is looking strong right now, and it is Justin Durand looking to go back-to-back here with the top time, but only by 6/1000ths of a second ahead of Zach Probst. I'm very excited to see what these drivers can manage here at Las Vegas. 134 laps or 200 miles on offer for everyone here tonight. Track has had a little bit of a facelift on iRacing in the past year or two. The maybe most iconic thing about this place, those bright yellow outer walls that you may have seen back in the day at Charlotte, but very much a Pennzoil classic here at Las Vegas. Title sponsor for the spring race here each year, which I have been lucky enough to go to back in 2022, the only time I've ever been fortunate enough to visit a NASCAR track and see a race firsthand. Let me tell you, it is a great experience, and I cannot wait to relive it here tonight. Just wrapping up, taking down the final seconds of practice, and then we are going to be right into our qualifying session. So we put 5 minutes on the clock here. It is going to be Brett Bennett, the first one, offering up a lap time. And looks like Enrique Carlon will be the second out of the pit lane. Bennett here, going to slow out lap here, in fact. Driver's given 2 laps to try and set an attempt. And this is really, really patient. Rolling at, 120 miles an hour, coming through turns 3 and 4, very measured. So clearly trying to, well, either is just trying to start at the back of the field, or what I expect is going to happen is he'll use this as a second warm-up lap, make sure the tyres are in a nice window, And then get rolling up speed. There we go. Starts to hit the throttle. Up to 150 miles an hour now on the exit of turn number 2. And setting up for what will be his only flying lap in this session. We'll see if the strategy pays off. I'm very interested to see what he can manage here. Lon Chicano is coming through to just set the first flying lap on the board. Bennett's at a 36, of course, not representative. Chicano at a 30.886 is much more like it. We'll see what this 06 car can do. You see, not much of a lift, maybe even no lift at all through the corners in qualifying trim. These trucks do produce an astonishing amount of downforce given their profile. But I think a little bit of a bleed of the throttle there. You can't quite carry it here with the additional power. And a little bit loose on exit there for the 06. Tire temperature's still a struggle. Is that lap time going to be enough? It is going to move up to second place with a 30.974. But still about a tenth of a second away from what we saw from Lon Chicano. Trutalon improves on lap 2 to third place. Crudo is up in the wall on his outlap. Does have time to reset and go again. Did not cross the line to start lap 1. But a very strange incident. Let's see if we can roll it back and just lose off 4, try to get the power down. And up into the wall. He will get rolling. Then Zach Probst goes second fastest. And some other drivers looking to get started. Cameron Caldwell go to across the line to start lap number 1. A bit of a middle line there through the tri-oval. And running up against the wall here through 1 and 2. A very different strategy from the number 12 car. Carries good speed. I don't know if he had to crack up the throttle there, but the question really is whether the shorter line is preferable or whether he can carry that additional speed and make use of it. Jonathan Quinby goes fastest with a great lap as a 7.85 from the 48 truck. Caldwell does not have a response. It's not quite what he was looking for, but now we'll go low for lap 2. Maybe a similar installation strategy to Brett Bennett, just at a higher rolling speed. This track temp making very different qualifying run strategies here. Fidel Fabian, your Daytona winner, slots into outside pole provisionally with a 8.53 on the board. And Cameron Caldwell find a big improvement. Yes, it's good enough for third place here. And Justin Durand, last timeouts winner, 5 1,000ths away, will slot into second place, but cannot challenge Jonathan Quinby, which is a fresh name. I don't know if I've seen Jonathan around. Maybe I'm just mistaken, but a great performance. Michael Cruder goes up to 4th fastest. And Kerfen, I think, going to be the final driver to set a competitive lap time here. Slow lap 1, quick lap 6. And it's going to be good enough for third fastest, also in the 0.7s, but just can't quite find that missing difference. And that will close out our session. 5 drivers not setting lap times, but on pole it is going to be the number 48 of Jonathan Quinby. A great, great performance from the 48. We will be right back in just a moment with your race. And with the field getting lined up here for 134 laps of action, let's run you through our starting lineup here today at Las Vegas. It is Jonathan Quinby with a 30.785, a great run from the number 48 truck to start on the pole position with Justin Durand, last time out's winner, starting alongside. Alex Coffin, the last truck in the 30.87s, will start in third with Fidel Fabian in fourth place. Then Michael Kruder and Cameron Caldwell back on row number 3. Lon Chicano and Zach Probst, a lot of the usual suspects here, up in the top 10 with Tristan Maher and Brett Bennett. Again, we saw some unorthodox qualifying strategies here. It's only good enough for 10th place for the 06 truck. Enrique Catalan and Wyatt Roberts will line up on row number 6. And then behind we have the non-qualifiers. It is David Durand, Bryson Bird, Stephen Thornton, Shane O'Neill, and Weston Osborne, rounding out your 17 car field. So I'm very excited to see what Jonathan Quinby can do here. It is the first start, at least, of the season for the 48 truck. I'm not quite sure if there's a history going further. I'll have to pick that up over the course of the race. But in fact, and never mind, Quinby is not starting from pole, has not taken the grid, and instead will be starting from pit lane if he can get rolling at all. So unfortunate for the 48 crew there. It does mean that Alex Kerfen will inherit that inside pole position. Of course, it doesn't not give him control of the start, nor does Justin Durand inherit it. It's control of Barney on the flag stand. And as we roll through into the restart zone, we are green for the High Roller 200. And it is going to be Kerfen with a nose ahead into turn number 1, but we are going to be flat to the floor through 1 and 2. And it's going to give that number 30 the run, and he's going to be clear off the corner. Justin Durand managed to hold on to second place. But Fidel Fabian looking to the inside. And this is going to be a very frantic opening few laps. It is the sort of thing you see at Las Vegas. The tyre fall off is strong, but the tyres have so much performance in this 20-degree banking through the opening of the stint. So it's going to be tight 2-3 wide in places, and if there are incidents, we could see a few cautions throughout this one. Very tight from Fidel Fabian there around the outside of Michael Kruger. There's a great run off the corner and will slingshot up into third place. Does he have a line around Justin Durand, or is he going to hold firm for now? Kruger again looking for the inside, but we know Fabian's confident. Pinching on the inside line. Kruger moves up but slots in behind. And they all make it through. It's about 2 or 3 further back as well. Probst and Bennett getting into it for 7th place. And Fabian is making moves. Swings around the outside of Michael around the outside of Michael Kruger and up into 2nd place. Now trying to chase down Alex Kerfen. Dirty air, potentially a factor here. You're seeing the front few able to escape, while the trucks behind it are a little bit caught up in things, carrying so much speed through the corners that you're really feeling the wash from all that downforce. And there it's 3 wide onto the apron for Brett Bennett. You can use that in the tri-oval. It's a nice spot to overtake and get to the inside for 1 and 2. Just gotta be careful, make sure that you hold the wheel steady so you don't have a bump as you come on and off that jump. And a very interesting run here for Justin Durand. Started, qualified outside pole, started there as well. Fell back early and is now running at as low as 8th place. But we did see, again, won last time out. And the secret to that was tyre saving. It was managing things over at Auto Club in Fontana. So I do wonder whether he has a plan. He's going to run this first stint at his own pace, and maybe everyone else getting a little bit too excited after a couple of weeks away, using up everything they have in these first few laps of the race. Durand's down 8 positions. He's fallen the furthest this race. Bryson Bird up 5, but Brett Bennett up 4. And there's trouble further back at Chicano. And Bryson Bird getting into it a little bit, maybe just trying to loose off the corner, but he holds on to it. It's going to bunch up the group a little bit behind, but great work to save that one and stop it from being a much, much bigger incident. Again, it's tricky off turn 4. I'm not sure whether there was a little bit of contact there or whether it was just a sketchy moment that you had to hold on to. And then a couple laps to let the tyres cool off a little bit more. Meanwhile, Michael Truder holding on to the back of Fidel Fabian and maybe looking for the move back into second place here. Kerfen running away right now, 1.6 seconds at the front of the field. Enjoying the clean air, just running the race after inheriting that inside pole position. Let's see if his tyres are holding on over the rest of this stint as we enter lap number 10. Chicano still battling here with Bryson Bird, up 6 positions now for the 53. Great run after starting in the 13th position, not putting a qualifying time down on the back of Brett Bennett now, but still being challenged by the number 25. Behind them, Justin Durand falling down to 9th place after starting on that front row. Seems to have stemmed the bleed and is not letting these trucks behind get through, and maybe this is where the lap time will start returning to the number 5 if he has been looking after his tyres early. Kerfen's got the fast lap race at 31.0. Durand never went faster than a 30.3. We know he has the 1 lap pace, so I've got to think it is an intentional run here, and we'll see where this comes to towards the end of this stint. Tristan, qualified in 8th, has fallen back to 13th early. Again, a driver you expect to be up near the front, so maybe on a similar run, but a beautiful looking truck there, a bit of a retro looking scheme. Not sure of the exact inspiration, but I love the detailing with the number there on the side. Again, some great livery work throughout this field. I know Caldwell does a lot of work for these. Not sure whether this is a Caldwell special for Tristan or whether it is another designer who's put this one through, but it is just a great looking field. Oh my goodness, Bryson Bird, aggressive as it threw down there through the tri-oval, does move past Brett Bennett, but Chicano's still on the tail. And if there was a little bit of contact from that earlier incident, maybe looking to force his way back through as we approach about the 1/3 point of this opening stint. We expect fuel to probably go past the 1/3 point, maybe towards 50 or 60 laps, but you're going to want the fresh tyres. You're going to want to split this race as evenly as you can. They've got to make it another 30 laps to get to that 1/3 point, unless they think this is potentially a 3-stop race, which I wouldn't be so sure of that. On the high side there for Zach Probst. Kuda has fallen back to 5th now. And it is Caldwell, the lead challenger for Fidel Fabian, and that silver medal position. Alex Kerfman still with a 1.5 second lead, and Zach Probst a little bit loose off the corner, holds onto it, but you can see how tricky it can get very early on these tyres when the track temp is sat as high as it is. It has dropped. Towards the end of practice, it was sitting closer to 130, whereas now down at 120. But still not pleasant for these Goodyear tyres. And of course, as we approach lap 18, we are going to crank it up. Not just for Kyle Busch this time, but of course also for Dan Weldon, who we lost here in 2011. And for the both of them, enjoy the sounds of the racetrack. Let's crank it up. And contact there between Alonso Carno and Brett Bennett. We just caught it from the onboard here of Justin Durand. Alonso has been in a couple of little incidents so far. Again, we're not quite sure. And then just like Chicano was ran up the racetrack a little bit. And now he's getting put 3 wide. Durand goes to the inside as David Durand gets around the outside. Coming out of turn number 2 there. So struggles in this first stint for the 25, and that's into the wall for, I think that was the 0-2 of Enrique Tucalan. And it's looking very difficult to handle right now. Panamanian just running up on that high side, finding some clean air to resettle, essentially. But a very, very interesting couple of laps just there. And into the wall, there's David Durand as well, just off turn number 4. A little bit of a glancing blow. Shouldn't be too much in the way of damage, but it just goes to show how difficult this tyre situation is. It feels like soon like we could have our first caution of the race. Things getting very, very difficult indeed. Bryson Bird looking for the move on Cameron Caldwell to get into the top 5 here. Again, Bryson did not set a qualifying lap, so started down in 13th place and is up 7. And looking to make that 8. With a good run to the inside of the number 12 truck. Oh, and loose off the corner, but clears. Does Cameron Caldwell. Great, great work. Things looking very, very difficult. And Justin Durand now makes an overtake, slides down the inside of David Durand. And could this be that second half of the stint that Justin's looking for? A little bit of a push there from the Hershey's truck. Clearly both knowing the game plan here. We'll see if Justin can find that pace going forwards. Lap time's not particularly faster than the leaders right now, but they are. Lap times are in the high 32s towards the low 33s. They've lost 2 seconds here in 25 laps. And we're only about halfway through this opening stint. Looking slated to third, and the caution's out. And it is the number 62 of Zach Probst. We knew it could come, and it has on lap number 25. Let's roll it back and see what it was that led to this one. Oh, we're going to roll back a little bit further here. So loose through turn 2, gets up into the wall. It's trying to recover it, hits the wall again, and then I think tries to go down to the apron. Get out of the way knowing that there's something wrong with that suspension. Unfortunately, Michael Kruger, seeing the incident ahead, also dives low to try and get around it. And just a little bit of miscommunication leading to the first caution of the night. Ultimately, the cause is going to be those worn out tyres. It's going to be a single car incident. That is the spark, helped out by the 41. See if there's any damage on that truck. It was a little bit. If it's just cosmetic or whether there is a extended pit stop for Michael Kruger. But we are in for our first round of pit stops. At about the 1/5 point of the race. If I'm not mistaken, it is a 5. Oh, and it's missing the box for the 41 as well. It should be 5 sets of tyres for this race, so it's not quite too early, but I'm still going to be a little bit worried for these drivers. We'll see who exits first. Curfin just gets it from Fabian, and then it's Caldwell, Bennett, and Durand who round out the top 5. And that leads our first pit stop cycle after a green flag run of 25 laps. We are forming up double file here for the restart, just confirming that it is 5 total sets of tyres. Everyone started on their first set. I think everyone has taken their second set now. We unfortunately have lost Zach Probst 1 lap down and potentially out of this race from that incident. Michael Kruger did take some extended repairs, 51 seconds in the box, so falls to the tail end for this restart. Trying to get a look at that right front to see if it's looking any better. And I think the repairs have been completed there. Or at the very least, the majority of it has. So it's looking good for Kruger, but he will have to fight his way back through the field. And this does reset everyone, of course. Durand maybe making that tyre save work, but those tyres are gone now. On to set number 2. Pace car pulls off for the first restart of the night, and it's Alex Kerfen in control on the inside line. And we are back underway here at Las Vegas. And having control of the restart gives you such a good jump here. Fidel Fabian under threat from Cameron Caldwell, who started behind, had the best view of Kerfen's launch. And it looks like it could be not quite good run off turn 2 for Fidel Fabian, and will clear into 3 to hold on to that second place it's been running in pretty much all night here. Again, we saw how frantic it can be on the initial restarts here. The first few laps can get very tricky indeed. On the outside, Bryson Bird hands it around the outside of Cameron Caldwell and launches through. Will cross the line in 4th and look to continue that and confirm the move in turn number 1. Great move there on the outside of 4. And looking to continue that charge forward. Our biggest mover tonight, 9 positions gained. Brett Bennett up 6 ahead. But is being challenged by the number 53 Ford here. Our leading 2 Fords in the field, running 3rd and 4th behind the 2 Chevrolets. We look on board here with Michael Kruger up into the 10th position after restarting 14th, so already making good progress after getting caught up in that instant with Zach Probst to win out our first caution of the afternoon. One's a little bit more single file. I think maybe that first stint was a rude awakening to the state of the tyre wear here. And people looking to maybe play a bit more patiently from here on out. And try and ease more gradually into the stint. It's one of the things about when there is racing with multiple stages, you're sort of guaranteed to have that opening run as a test and then adjust your strategy based on it. With no stages scheduled, it's never a certainty, but of course any caution will give you that reset to make the adjustment, whether of course in open racing it's to the car or in this case just to your driving style, your aggressiveness throughout the course of the run. Track temperature continues to fall. It's now 4:30 in the afternoon here, Pacific Daylight Time, I should say. And the track temp down to 116 Fahrenheit, and a big check up there as Alonso Chicano sweeps around the outside and back into the top 10. Chicano has been in the action all throughout tonight. Seemingly replicated the move that we saw from Bryson Bird on Cameron Caldwell to move up the field. Speaking of Bryson, still sat in behind Brett Bennett here. Although notably, still in the lead train, Kerfen not pulling away quite as quickly as we saw in that first stint of the race. Only 4 tenths from Fidel Fabian. Fabian 3 tenths ahead of Bennett here. So much closer at the front of the field at the start of the second stint. Maybe again Kerfen looking to save a little bit more, but maybe these two deciding that they can keep up and they want to use a bit more tyre to push through. Further back in the field, Kruger up into 9th place now. Got back around Alonso Chicano and now Tristan Maher. They are in this cluster now. They have the Durans ahead. But again, we think, especially Justin, maybe playing this one quite patiently. Oh, and that's contact between Maher and Chicano just off turn number 4. Chicano holds onto it, but now under threat from Weston Osborne. The number 14 slots up the inside with that checkup from Alonso. He has the outside line here. Going to try and slingshot back through and hold on to 11th place. But not what he was looking for. Another incident, and he will have to slot in behind, it looks like. And get his tyres back underneath him. Maybe not. Will get his nose ahead, but he's now a second behind the number 17 after that contact. Has a lot of catching up to do. As O'Neill gets around Weston as well there for the 12th position. Big gap from our top 4 to this battle for 5th place. And Richard Carlin and Cameron Caldwell in a little bit of no man's land, pulling away from Justin Durand and that group behind. Very different line to 1 and 2 there. 0-2 painting the outside wall. Down low through 3 and 4. Crudo, the man to watch right now, again had to start back in 14th, getting some repairs from that first caution, but was running towards the front of the field until then. Stuck behind David Durand, who was running in 8th place, up 4 positions from where he started. Solid run from the number 24 truck so far, but I'm sure not what Crudo wants to see. Crudo wants daylight in front to try and get back to that top 5. Fastest lap of the race was set at the start of this second stint. Brett Bennett set a 31.024. Lap times now are in the 32.5s, so a second and a half since the restart, just about 15 laps on these tyres. It may be possible to one stop to the end from here on fuel, but I think the 2-stop would be a very compelling option just so you're running faster when you need to be. If they are looking at a 2-stop strategy, we would be expecting pit stops around lap 60, so in 15 laps time. As you can see, the rear end stepping out a little bit. There's a lot of yaw on these trucks, and in fact, Chicano, I think it was, got a little bit loose there in the background. Clip past the 1/3 race mark, and it is treacherous here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. While trying to set this move up, wheeled it around to the apron to take the inside line into turn number 1. Managed to take the line away and forces Trudelon to look at a crossover move. Instead, we'll go for the bump draft down the backstretch and cede that position over to Caldwell up into the top 5. It is where he started the race, but a very hard-fought battle here, and what this has done is it has invited Justin Durand back into the picture, running the 7th position. Had the fastest qualifying lap of any of our starters here. And did go fastest last time by with a 32.572. The rest of the field in the 32.6s and above. We saw from Winter Auto Club from a tyre saving angle. We'll see if that's his plan again here tonight. Under a bit of pressure here from David Durand, interestingly. These trucks are about 2 seconds back from your race leaders. Got Carfin, Fabian, Bennett and Bird. They've been running in formation all the way through the stint so far. Now 20 green flag laps have come and gone. Not really any particular threat of an overtake. I think knowing that it doesn't really matter until the pit cycle comes in. And just try to keep the tyres underneath to try and hold off the trucks behind. They've done a great job. They have that buffer. 8 tenths back to Caldwell. Caldwell is starting to push now to try and close the gap and make it a lead quintet. Maybe this will give them the hurry up to try and get their positions organised, especially for 3rd and 4th here. Very patient from Bryson Bird. Justin Durand trying to find a way around Enrique Column, but it's also opening the door for David Durand here to take the run. Justin can't run out to the wall with the trucks on the high side, and so it's giving that little bit of a slingshot. He does track out to the wall, but David Lino for the crossover gets to the inside across the start finish. Again, it's causing trouble for the overtake on the 0-2. All fanning out there through turns 1 and 2, 3 different lines for those 3 trucks, and Justin able to use that to hold on. Meanwhile, it is now go time. Bryson Bird looks to the inside of Brett Bennett for 3rd position here on lap number 53. Of course, the run off the corner to be more favourable for the 0-6, and he does manage to clear again. They're now about a second behind that lead duo of Kerfin and Fabian. And Cameron Caldwell is here, up on the high side, looking to try and get involved in this fight. It is all happening now. Oh, a little bit loose there from number 12. As it is now a 6-car pack for 6th place behind as well. Kruger and Chicano tagged onto the back of this. Very competitive race here. As we are approaching that 2-stop pit window. Let's see which drivers choose to bite and which drivers try and extend to the 1-stop range from that restart. A couple drivers, notably Shane O'Neill and Stephen Thornton, did come back down pit lane to top off on fuel. So they're clearly looking towards the 1-stop. as Justin Durand is to the inside. Didn't quite get the run off the corner, of course. The outside line being very powerful through the exit. He's making such gains in the mid corner. They're going to be side by side for a little while longer now. Identical lap times last time by 32.943 for the duo. Unfortunately, it is potentially letting the top 5 run away. But Durand wants to be clear, wants that clean air to start that chase down. As Coupon is all the way up against the wall. Made a tiny gain, 0.03 of a second gained by Durand last time by. It's inch by inch trying to get the move done on the inside. Is he clear? Not quite. A little bit of contact there. 2 by 2 now into turn number 3. A game of inches, and Durand's not quite clear off the second corner there. Now clears off turn 4, moves up ahead. Coupon going to try and fight back around, but David Durand looking to get 3 wide into turn number 1. And is going to force Enrique onto a lower line, and maybe going to sweep around the outside as well. Durand safely up into 6th place now. And David Durand has followed through into 7th. Well, Enrique Coulon now on the low side, struggling to carry that same momentum. And under threat, not just now from David Durand, but also Tristan Maher, looking to follow them through, although into the wall. Gonna kill the momentum there. And could stem the bleeding for the 0-2, who slots back in 8th place here. Hikano still side by side here with Michael Kruger. Both drivers who started towards the front of the field, but haven't quite had the best run of it here in the race. Incidents for both of them in the first half of this one. And they will continue to fight here off the corner, still side by side for that final spot in the top 10. Lap times now in the 32.9s on average. Again, about 2 seconds of fall off since the restart. It's a very sharp fall off within the first 10 to 15 laps, and then it gets a bit more steady in terms of lap time. Although I think maybe a lot more difficult in the way of control, as like 0-2 a little bit sideways there, or 4 potentially. And these two still in lockstep, still side by side. And maybe during off corner now for Michael Kruger could settle this, as Tristan and Enrique start their own fight for the 8th position. Justin not able to push forwards after that battle and clearing the 0-2, who is starting to fall back into the clutches. Again, battling with Tristan. So that would be a 3rd spot lost in the last 10 laps or so. And I think struggling with the tyres a fair bit. As for the lead, we are side by side. Alex Kerfen has ran this one from the front all race long. Fidel Fabian got a nose ahead there through turns 3 and 4. Doesn't get credit for the lap led. It's still going to be every lap to Alex Kerfen, and closing in on the most laps led as we get towards halfway's distance. Would lock that in. fends off the challenge from Fabian, who's about a couple tenths back now. As we're still 2x2 here, as Cameron Caldwell does pull into the pit lane, is set up for the 2-stop from the caution. And this is where things get interesting. If drivers are responding, when? Do they pull the trigger now to try and cover because of how strong the undercut will be? Or do they give themselves a tyre advantage coming through? Could there be a caution here from all this fighting? It's always a possibility. Justin Durand is going to respond this time by sideways for Michael Kruger. They need to hope that we don't get a caution flying here, because that will put them a lap down, force them to take a wave around, as Caldwell has it, the pits 1 lap down. The real question is, are drivers going to try and extend into that 1-stop window? Into the wall there for Tristan and Maher. Our 2 drivers who have made stops so far. Cameron Caldwell, Justin Durand. Now Michael Kruger pulls the trigger on lap 67. It's just been 1 per lap so far, and the top 4 not blinking as we approach lap 40 of the stint. They all continue on, as it is now Tristan Maher who pulls in on lap number 68. I know the pit lane's not that crowded, right? They can fit more than 1 truck in the pit lane at once. Still no pit stops from this top 4. Is this to get into the 1-stop window, or is this just to try and give themselves the biggest offset possible to chase down the leader? Shane O'Neill pulls his pit lane as well. But it looks like it could just be those 4 runners, or there's 5 runners I should say, taking the call for the 2-stop strategy. Everyone else might be happy to hang on for a little while longer. It would need to be 10 to 15 laps extended to get into that 1-stop range. Oh, and slow. Just trouble with Cameron Caldwell there getting around. It's going to be a similar story here for Justin Durand, who rolled the dice on that strategy. Caldwell leading the way on this. And in C, Justin got checked up by David there through the corner. Now Enrique looking for the move in turn number 3 as well. As in comes Alona Chicano. Does not want to extend it any longer. Weston Osborne also just pit a little bit further down the road. It feels like making a stop now kind of puts you in no man's land a little bit. You're kind of between the 2 strategies. You've got yourself a great overlap, but you've also left yourself a huge undercut against the 2-stop, and you can't make it to compete against the 1-stop drivers. Fidel Fabian does come in now, though. David Durand, Wyatt Roberts also pull the trigger with 60 laps to go. Clearly, they think that they can make this work. And now with Fidel Fabian pulling the trigger. Does Alex Kerfen respond? Yes, the following lap pulls in with 60 to go. The rest of our leaders, with the exception of Bryson Bird coming for the pit cycle, he continues on. Delta 2 seconds a lap. And drivers not confident that they can make it on this one-stop strategy, looking for two. But have left themselves on a huge undercut. Or left themselves on a huge overcut. And have been leapfrogged by some of the drivers who pit earlier. Fidel Fabian exits behind Brett Bennett. Behind Tristan Maher, Michael Kruger, Justin Durand, Cameron Caldwell. Kerfen just rolls out of pit lane now. Just 3 drivers still out on track without the pit stops. There's Bryson Bird, Wyatt Roberts, and Stephen Thornton. Bryson Bird, the biggest contender for this race win on this strategy. But can he take it much further? Can he extend into that one-stop window? He'd need another 5 laps to consider it. Run 50 laps since the last pit stop, including the end of that first caution. And we have 57 laps to go at the line. So we're not in range yet, but we aren't far away. I don't think Bird's been fuel saving. He's been up at the front of the field for this entire first stint. But maybe confident that the tank can go far enough to open up this option. Roberts and Thornton may be a bit more of a roll of the dice on their strategy further down the field. Bird was there or thereabouts. Had the option to follow with the leaders and stay on their strategy, and instead commits differently. Alex Kerfen sets the fastest lap, a 30.907, using the most of those fresh tyres to try and claw back through the field, but is a significant distance behind Cameron Caldwell, who pit about 10 laps earlier. At least 10 seconds. Maybe close as 12 or 15. And this is going to be a fascinating strategy fight here for the rest of this one. 3 trucks still out. Thornton now comes into pit with 56 laps to go. That was Thornton who came in to top up on fuel as well under the caution. Bryson Bird also rolls it down to pit lane. Can't quite make it to the halfway point. Wyatt Roberts will stay out. Bird would have to go 55 laps on the tank here. Went 52, including the caution in this first stint. So could be difficult on fuel, maybe hoping for a late caution to neutralize things and bring everyone back down for a fresh set. Everyone will have 2 additional sets in the pit lane in addition to what they're currently on. So plenty to work with for a late race restart. Wyatt Roberts is slow through 3 and 4, and it is going to be the pit stop here at the end of lap 81. Leaves himself a 53 lap run to the end. Roberts, I think we're pretty confident, can do this from here. This will be the final scheduled stop under green. The question is, will the pace be enough? The pit lane cone-to-cone time about 40 seconds, probably a similar delta in terms of time lost, given the entry and exit roads. But it's a 2-second delta between fresh tyres and fully worn tyres here. With that, Cameron Caldwell inherits the lead for the first time in this race. But Kerfen, Bennett, Fabian, Chicano, Kutlon all pit in that sort of second phase of the cycle. And are going to have much fresher tyres through the rest of this stint. until those final stops. Let's say we have 3 main clusters of pit stops here for the strategies. We have the drivers like Caldwell and Durand who pit to split this final run into thirds directly. We have the drivers that gave themselves the overlap, stayed out later to make their final 2 stints shorter and push more on these tyres. And then we have Wyatt Roberts and potentially Bryson Bird and Stephen Thornton, who think that maybe they can make it to the end from their pit stops now. They are running now down in 11th and 12th and 15th. 20 seconds off the lead. But if they gain 40 seconds in the final pit stop phase by staying out, then this could be very close. If this stays green, it could be a real fight between these 2 strategies to see which one will come out on top. Focusing on these 2 stoppers for now, Tristan Maher on 16 lap old tyres, Brett Bennett sweeping around the outside on 12 lap old Goodyears. Should have a pretty easy time cutting through, and with Michael Kruger ahead as well. Easy work. Kerfen is in a great spot, 9 lap pressure tyres than the race leader, and only 2.5 seconds behind and gaining tenths and tenths a lap. If we bring up that battle for second place here, you can see 7 tenths gained last time by. Should be a pretty easy move here into turn 1 unless Durand gets very defensive. Kind of holds middle, makes it difficult. Kerfen just able to carry so much speed dropping down to that low side. And kind of has the better run off the corner despite being on the inside lane. And now can force Durand up high and just power back through here. And now under 2 seconds to your race leader of Cameron Caldwell. Kerfen running up at the front this whole race and seems to have really nailed this pit stop cycle. Fidel Fabian seems to struggle in the cycle and is about 3 seconds back from Kerfen despite having very similar pit stop times. And in fact, Fabian pitting a lap earlier for the undercut. Just seems to have shifted into high gear for the number 30 truck here. Now under threat from is that Alonso Chicano? No, it's the lapped truck of Stephen Thornton. Getting very confused by my time in a score in there. Fabian looking to sweep around Michael Kruger. Again, has fallen back from his main competitors through this most recent cycle. But still has the fresher tyres, can still make that push if he's been saving through the opening laps of the stint. And does move up back into the top 5. An interesting comparison here between the stretch in 11th and 12th. Bryson Bird on 3 lap older tyres than Wyatt Roberts. These are the 2 drivers who are the best contenders for the one-stop run here. And Roberts half a second faster lap back. I don't think that's down to a 2-lap tyre difference. I think that's more likely that Bird is in a more extreme fuel save situation. In fact, let's try and go on board and see if we can hear. That's clutch. Bird is clutching in to try and get through here. That is the situation that he finds himself in on the fuel save. Meanwhile, Wyatt Roberts running significantly faster, maybe thinks he doesn't need that level of aggressive fuel save by extending that first stint with a shorter run to the end. But up at the front of the field, this is a certainty. Alex Kerfen on Cameron Caldwell, a 9-lap tyre differential, and the number 30, who has led the majority of this race, is just 2/100ths of a second back, heading on to lap number 93, has the inside line. And Caldwell pinching super tight here, not making it easy for the number 30 at all. I thought this would be more of a formality, but great job from Caldwell to defend there through 1 and 2. But ultimately, Kerfen with a very nice line through turns 3 and 4. Gains, clears by a 10th, covers off the move. And Caldwell has no response. Your new race leader was the old race leader as well. That's Kerfen in 30. Bryson Bird and Wyatt Roberts battling each other here for 11th. Bird, I'm sure, maybe happy to be in the slipstream potentially. No clutch there for the number 53 truck. Is it possible he's abandoned the fuel save and is just going to have to take the additional stop? Nope, there it is in turn 3. Fascinating stuff as Caldwell pits with 40 laps to go. Pulls the trigger already. Very surprising there for the number 12. And Robert is also in clutch mode. It's going to be very difficult for them to manage and make it to the end. And not just that, but when you are in this kind of situation, you're sliding the truck whenever you hit that clutch pedal. It's not what the truck wants to feel. And so it's going to hurt the tires as well. Of course, you're going a little bit slower through the corners potentially, but it's really going to hurt in terms of those sort of quick movements that the tire feels. So it could end up hurting them in the long run of this race as well. Oh, this is a fascinating strategy from those two. I thought it'd be a little bit easier to make the one-stop work, and it's why they were going for it, because it was just a question of tires. But if it's also a question mark on fuel, it seems incredibly risky. And even as someone who is normally one for aggressive fuel strategies, I just don't know if I consider it worth it with the tire wear here. But I'm very glad that a couple are trying it. And we will see if this goes green, whether it ends up paying off. I suppose if it goes green, we have 4 trucks under a blanket here. And Chicano, loose, holds onto it. And corrects before turn number 3. We are between 25 and 35 laps deep for these two stoppers. They are really in the pain phase of the tires as well. Caldwell, by the way, a lap down, but close to unlapping. Just behind the top 2 drivers right now. Justin Durand inherited 2nd place, but in fact he's going to pit here, and there's a swarm of trucks in the pit lane. Brett Bennett, Tristan Maher follow. So they pull the trigger here with 35 laps to go. I'd expect Michael Kruger potentially to follow soon. And so the question becomes, does Kerfen play the overcut again? No, he responds immediately, wants to lock in that advantage that he built. And it will give the lead of the race to Fidel Fabian, who has a similar question to ask himself now. And we could Colin also in that predicament. I mean, especially if you're in this cluster as well. Enrique, Alonso, and Michael all, I think, can justify a pit stop very soon here, just to get out of this chaos. I think Tsunoda's probably the lead candidate, having run the longest stint so far. Is down on the low side, but will power through and continue on the racetrack. And this is fascinating. And this gives us our first real on-track look of this one-stop versus two-stop battle. I'll pull it up on the deltas here as we watch the battle between Chicano and Tsunoda. The lead only 9 seconds between Bird on the two-stop, on the one-stop, and Caldwell on the two-stop. I don't think that's enough. I think this is not going to end up paying off for those two trucks. Just a little bit too much to ask with the fuel and tyre save at the same time. Caldwell gained over a second last time by. The tyres won't give that performance forever, but they'll still have a 15-20 lap tyre advantage for the rest of this one, as Fidel Fabian pulls trigger down pit lane, and Michael Tsunoda does follow. Will make it a 31 lap run to the checkered flag. And I think ultimately these two now praying for a caution. They really cannot afford to have this go green to the end. They might be forced an additional stop as the top two come in. Pucon locks up the rear tyres. Alonso locks them up worse, but both keep out of the wall. This will hand the lead over to our fuel-saving duo. Wyatt Roberts takes the lead of this race, but Caldwell is only 6 seconds behind right now. And he's going to chase them down very, very quickly here. Again, gained 1.1 seconds, over a second last time by. And has plenty of fuel to push to the end. It will be a lap lead for Wyatt Roberts here officially. Bryson Bird may look for an overtake to try and claim that honour as well, but both of these two going to be praying for a caution to deal them back into this race as Weston Osborne pulls into the pit lane. So this is the fight for second place. Caldwell chasing down our race leaders. Again, gained a second last time by. But also lost about 6/10 to Alex Turfin, who overcut, has been leading most of this race, gave Caldwell a 7-lap head start on this final stint, but now has the 6-lap head start, I should say, but now has the tyres to try and chase that down once again. It worked the first time for the number 30. We'll see if he can pull it off a second time. As Tristan Maher gets around Shane O'Neill, who is still yet to make his final stop of the race. David Durand just come out of pit lane with the fastest lap now at 30.862. The leaders on the fuel save running 32.5s. With 25 laps to go. It is a long, long way home for Wyatt Roberts and Bryson Bird. Laps truck there of Weston Osborne. Just come out of the pit lane. Going to try and get through. It's currently 2 laps down. The only truck off the lead lap that's still running would move up into the lucky dog position. Although O'Neill also comes down pit lane now. Stephen Thornton potentially also going to be following at some point. Kind of hoping that Osborne gets by quickly, but we did see an instant pop-up for the 14. There's no damage on that truck. Nothing visible. But potentially struggling in some other way on a 32.9 last time by on fresh tyres. So some sort of issue plaguing that number 14 truck and could end up getting in the way of this fight potentially, because Cameron Caldwell is only 3 seconds down the road. Alex Kerfen has closed in at an incredible rate as well. Kerfen is going to catch Caldwell potentially before Caldwell gets to our leaders. It is this lap truck now trying to get through the traffic. And it can be difficult, again, if someone's clutch coasting into a corner, to be a bit more unpredictable in terms of their pace compared to just rolling it through on maybe half throttle. Of course, these two are going to try and let the move happen so they can do a bit of fuel saving behind and not get disrupted too much. Can still be easily misjudged. As Osborne does gain that first lap back. O'Neill currently now in the lucky dog position. But crucially, Alex Kerfen is here. Has caught up at an incredible rate to Cameron Caldwell. Gained 6/10 that last time by. And is now within striking distance. Kerfen has run a near flawless race to this point. Just has to make these overtakes nice and cleanly. Not get caught up in the fight. Has the freshest tyres. Has the fuel to move. But Caldwell not to make it easy. A low fade down onto that inside line to turn number 3. Does he have what it takes to fend off this move? Kerfen does not go to the apron. Almost a bit of contact there with Caldwell, maybe expecting that. But nice and easily through from Kerfen in 3 and 4. And it just has 2 seconds now to close in to your 2 race leaders who are on the alternate strategy with 20 laps to go. Clutch coasting through the corners on 30 plus lap old tyres already with another 20 laps to go in this run. And it's a bold gamble. Isn't that what you're supposed to come to Las Vegas for? But it looks like it's going to be the certainty. Kerfen has led close to 100 laps, I've got to think, so far in this one. And is gaining hand over fist compared to your leading duo. Last time by, half a second, sliced out of that advantage. And I just don't think they have enough to fight with. Of course, a caution throws everything up in the mix, and a caution can still make this a powerful strategy, because at 18 laps on this set of tyres with another set in the pits, you've got to think these drivers take that gamble. You've got to think they pit onto their final set and run to the end. And that neutralises the fuel situation, the tyre situation, and it just leaves Robertson Bird up at the front of the field. Bird, of course, was there before this strategy gamble, but Roberts potentially has dealt into a great position here. Was running further back before starting this and could still have a great chance to hold on to a great spot here, even without a caution. But if it does come, then it's all to play for once again. As it stands, though, Alex Kerfen has every option here to the middle for Bryson Bird. Curfin looks for a bit of clean air on the outside. Looks for the run off the corner. Now ducks low. Goes for the dive into turn number 3. Doesn't have the clean air. Roberts denying him that on the low side. Does he get the run off the corner that he needs? No, he's going to lose out here across the start-finish. And I think it's more difficult to get this move done compared to a single car. That's why Caldwell was dispatched so efficiently. With 15 to go, it's not quite so simple when you've got 2 ahead who are really both trying to work together. They don't want Curfin in this mix because it basically spells game over for their strategy plan. And Curfin's tyres approaching 20 laps old. It's where it feels it starts to equalise. You don't really have the pace advantage that you have with tyres earlier in the stint. And this isn't over yet. Bird putting on great battles early on in the race, running inside that top 5 through those pit stop cycles under green. Curfin instead looks outside, doesn't get the nose, instead goes for the slingshot through the start finish, but that's also covered off. Time is ticking now for Alex Curfin. So you have the run here through 1 and 2. The outside line prevails once again, and this is just frustration for the number 30. He knows the trucks ahead are on dying tyres. He knows their fuel situation is a nightmare. Potentially they've saved enough to not have to clutch coast through these corners, but it's still so difficult. But he just cannot find a way through. Bryson Bird now goes to the outside. This could be the opportunity. Carry the momentum off the corner all the way to the wall. And he does have the nose ahead once again. Wyatt Roberts throwing the air. Throwing the slipstream back to the 53. Throwing the dirty air through the mid-corner. And then the slipstream once again. You can see this is a duo who is trying to work together to keep this strategy working. This is their only chance. They either need to defend like hell or they need a caution to neutralize this. Curfin still not clear of Bird. Roberts still playing both lanes, trying to put the disadvantage on Curfin. It looks like it might be too much. Curfin clear of Bird off the corner, had the momentum, and now Roberts, potentially a sitting duck, with no more options, has the better fuel situation, has the better tyres. And Bird's still going to try and put the pressure on as we enter the final 10 laps of this race. Curfin, with all the experience in the world, in situations like this, closing out races. Can he do it one more time? Goes low, tries to carry the momentum. It's a good run off the corner, gets to the inside, and has the shorter run through the tri-oval. Maybe side by side into turn 1 for the race lead. Curfin with the shortest line, paints the white line. Roberts tries to hold the momentum, does a great job through 1 and 2. And holds onto the position and clears Alex Curfin with 8.5 laps to go. Caldwell could be dealt back into this with clean air, has the older tyres, yes, but it's only about a second back from this fight. A slide from Bird. That's going to bring him out of this fight. Cannot put the pressure on the number 30 anymore. 8 to go into turn number 1. No chance of a move here. He's going to look to the high side, look for the momentum, and try and slingshot off the corner. Is it going to happen? I thought this was a certainty with how big the tyre delta, how big the fuel delta was, but they are putting on such a good defense. Roberts played it so smart to delay the overtake on Bryson Bird. And now just playing the lanes, carrying the momentum when he needs to. Curfin gets to the inside now in turn 1. Roberts out-drags off the corner on the high side with the wider radius. And my goodness. Has something left in the tank, clearly. He wouldn't be defending this hard to lead if he didn't know he had 6 laps of fuel to take this one to the checkered flag. Will it be to take home the checkered flag? Or can Alex Kerfen get this move done? What a fantastic conclusion to this race. A strategy gamble. Roberts stretching it the longest in that first stint to give himself the best odds to the end. We come across the line, 5 to go here at Las Vegas. Kerfen with 20 lap pressure tyres with ample fuel to finish out this race, but has not found a way through the number 42 of Wyatt Roberts. Has the high side, it's how he got around Bryson Bird. It has the run off the corner. He has the nose ahead into turn 3. Can he hold on to it? Does Roberts now have a response? Kerfen washing up the track a little bit. Roberts with a great mid-corner. Does he have the exit? Or can Kerfen launch off the corner? He will lead this lap with 4 to go. He is clear with 4 laps to go and leads the race once again. Does Roberts have a response? Dives it into turn number 1. But it looks like Kerfen has enough to try and build that buffer, stretch his legs. Stephen Thornton pits couldn't quite make it on the fuel strategy. Can Bryson Bird make it on the fuel strategy? He's still running so aggressively. Let's check the onboards here. Through turn number 1. Still clutch coasting with 3 to go. Wyatt Roberts trying to hold on to the back of Alex Kerfen. Does he still have to pull in the clutch? Yes! But he's still within half a second. Needs a mistake now from the number 30. But could still pull this off. Bryson Bird now. Bryson Bird's out. Bryson Bird is out. And has to pull down his apron. Cameron Caldwell inherits 3rd place. Justin Durand can still fight for the final spot on the podium, but runs out across the line with 2 laps to go. Wyatt Roberts pit 2 laps later than Bryson Bird did. The gamble has not paid off for the 53 as we come to the white flag. Alex Kerfen leads the way, but Wyatt Roberts a lap away from taking a remarkable 2nd place finish. Started 11th, was running towards the tail end, but has played a fuel strategy. Does he have enough to bring it across the line? Caldwell and Durand fight for the final podium position through the final corner. And Roberts is slow. Alex Kerfen will come across the line to take the win here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. And Roberts is out just a little bit too early. Caldwell comes home in 2nd. Justin Durand will round out the podium. And Roberts, with an incredible strategy play, doesn't quite have it over the line to defend from the 12 and the 5, but will come home with a brilliant 4th position. Bravo! Saving a stop, gaining places, and will come home in that 4th position. Bryson Bird, looking to still finish on the lead lap, will crawl over the line and will make it home, but just barely. An unfortunate play for the number 53. A brilliant play from the 42, rolling it back to pit lane. But most importantly, a flawless race from Alex Kerfen once again. Led it so early. Had to play it on strategy. Made the move in the final 5 laps. And takes his first win of the season. A fantastic finish here at Las Vegas. Strategies converging at the very death. And in the end, it is the number 30 who takes home the checkered flag. Let's go through our final race results here from Las Vegas Motor Speedway, the High Roller 200. Kerfan holds on for the race win, ends up taking it by 2.7 seconds from Cameron Caldwell and Justin Durand, inheriting the podium after the fuel save gamble falls away at the final moment. Wyatt Roberts coasts across the line for a fantastic 4th place finish, with Tristan Maher rounding out your top 5 here tonight. Fidel Fabian will come home in the 6th position, with Alana Chicano and Michael Kruger, 2 very eventful racers, will finish down in 7th and 8th, with Brett Bennett and Enrique Cacalon taking out the top 10. David Durand comes home 11th, with Bryson Bird crawling over the line to finish on the lead lap in 12th position, 30 seconds after David Durand came across the stripe. Shane O'Neill and Weston Osborne will be 13th and 14th, 1 lap down. Stephen Thornton, your final finisher here in 15th, with Zach Prost getting caught up in the only caution of tonight's race, will finish 16th. And Jonathan Quinby put together the fastest qualifying lap, but was unable to start the race, unfortunately. Love to see more from them going forwards. And with that, we have our drivers here to talk to, and we're doing a little bit of an unusual order here, with Najradi and our 2nd place finisher, Cameron Caldwell, to talk through tonight's race. Hello, Cameron. Welcome to the booth, and what an interesting one that was in terms of strategy decisions. You went for very early pit stops through that cycle. Talk us through why and how it worked out for you.
Yeah, it was definitely an interesting one. Man, it's been a long time since I've been interviewed. I didn't remember what this was like. No, it was a fun race. We had a little practice session before the race earlier this afternoon, and we knew it was going to be really slippery and sliding and everything, and it was just going to be a tire management race, and that's usually not one of my stronger suits, but I felt like I did pretty good this race. I definitely miscalculated my last stop. With that earlier caution, I was trying to split it into thirds, and I thought I had I was trying to make my last 2 runs 30 laps each, and so I pit once I hit 30 laps in my second to last run, and then I come back out, look like, oh shoot, there's 40 laps left. So big miscalculation there. So I'm glad I was able to hold on. I did not see a P2 coming tonight. I was hoping with my strategy I could win, but Alex was just really fast. Justin was really fast too. I think he would have gotten me if there was another lap or 2. But overall, really nice to finish really well on an oval, which these are not my strong suits anymore compared to the rest of these guys. So really fun race though. It was really intense and had a lot of fun.
Straight to hair. I'll let you get going nice and quickly, but anything you want to say to the fans at home before you do that, now's the time. Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, shout out to all of my sponsors. Two Towns Cider House on the truck tonight, the purple and red guava get down flavor. To us, the sponsors, JCTV, you for broadcasting, thank you, appreciate it. ACJCD Gaming, In the Pits News, C2 Graphics, everyone that helps us out here. Shout out to my race teammates for racing hard but clean up front. Shout out to everyone watching. Shout out my family, my friends who are watching. And I won't be there next week because I'll be on vacation, but I will be looking forward to our next race after that. So, yeah, thanks.
No worries. Have a great time, and we'll see you over in Texas.
Cool, thanks.
That was Cameron Caldwell, your second place finisher, and of course, lead admin here. Great run from him. Great to see him up on the podium. We'll continue down to Justin Durand here. Hello, Justin. Third place finish here tonight. Talk us through that one on a bit of a different strategy to Cold, but also I felt you dropped back quite a bit early in the race. Was that a tyre saving thing? And how was the tyre wear here tonight at Vegas?
Well, this with the track time being 110, 115 all the entire race, I was planning to save tires, but I just completely lost all the track position because, for whatever reason, I was just getting shoved into both corners like it was a plate track. So I had like no control over my truck, probably lifting my rear tires up. So that just killed my track position, made it very, very difficult to make passes. With the tire wear, because even if you try to save tire, you're still gonna have a lot of tire wear. I felt like I saved it pretty well over the course of the race. It's just lost a lot of time there. I just wish that went green on their first yellow, so I was making up time after getting by Enrique. So overall, even with the strategy calls over I think a couple guys in front of me finished behind, but they were running really well, and then I just undercut them and just saved tire and stayed in front. So strategy worked for P3. Felt like I still had a little more speed than that, but you can't complain when you get a podium.
It's been a very strong start to the season for you, of course. A great performance last time out, winning at Auto Club, and now a podium here. Looking forward to the rest of this swing. We have Bristol, Texas, and Watkins Glen. 3 very different tracks, it's fair to say. Where do you think you're going to be strongest, and which one are you looking forward to the most?
It'll probably be Texas. You need to save tires there well, so I'm pretty good there as well. I like Bristol, but that's just almost like a plate track, and there's gonna be a lot of wrecks probably with the short field. So hopefully that doesn't happen. I'm not trying to speak that existence, but I'm pretty quick there too. I'm sure everybody's aware that I don't like road courses, so you won't see me contend at Watkins Glen.
Alright, well, I wish you the best of luck through the rest of this run. And if there's anything you want to say to the fans at home for tonight, now is the time.
Just chatted over the field. We only had 1 yellow across all 3 races each, so that's very encouraging to see. So a lot of green flag wrestling. That was fun. Hopefully that was good for you guys in the booth and everybody watching.
It was fantastic. Thanks for putting on a great show, and we'll see you next time out of Bristol.
All right, thank you.
That was your 3rd place finisher for tonight, Justin Durand. And now we have gone in a little bit of a strange order, but we had to give plenty of time for the brilliant burnouts that we saw. Let's roll this replay forward a little bit so we can get a great view of your race winner here, Alex Kerfan. Alex, congratulations, first win on the season and a dominant display to put it through 85 laps led, and yet it seemed very difficult at the end of the race. Talk us through just that final run and just all the strategies converging at once.
Yeah, clean air was everything this race. It definitely meant everything. I know for a fact there were a lot of people behind me who were better at saving their tires than I was, and since I had the clean air, I was able to maintain that bit of an advantage over them. But man, I didn't expect it to matter that much. That probably was one of the most complete races I've put together, I feel like. And like you said, it definitely didn't come easy. Wyatt there at the end had me sweating. It was very difficult to pass him in the dirty air.
Yeah, I mean, let's just talk through what a performance that was. Of course, going for a fuel save strategy there with a caution lining up was clutch coasting through a lot of that final stint, and yet was putting on a crazy defense, not just when you were behind, but also to try and keep you behind Bryson Bird there for a while as well. Talk us through how much more difficult it is to try and pass when there's 2 trucks instead of 1, especially when one of them is trying to keep you behind.
Yeah, obviously the more trucks in front of you, the more that dirty air compounds on itself, and it really feels like you lose the nose of the truck. It pushes straight up the track. You're putting in a bunch of wheel input and it's not turning. You got to really burp the gas, and you almost got to use the power of the truck to, get the nose turning again. And yeah, that last run there was a big learning experience on how these trucks drive in the dirty air. A lot of notes there for sure. It really did surprise me how difficult it was to pass Wyatt. I noticed him middle of the corner letting off the gas and losing a bunch of speed, but the way he was able to pick up the gas again out of the exit, very surprising indeed.
Well, you got it done just in the nick of time to complete what was a fantastic run for you for your first win of the season. 3 tracks towards the end of this opening half: Bristol, Texas, Watkins Glen. Where are you favouring here?
Well, definitely not Bristol. I'm not too good of a short track guy. I can definitely hold my own, but you definitely don't expect me to be the fastest. I expect Justin to probably be the fastest next week. He's always been great at Bristol. He always qualifies lightning fast there. Watkins Glen, I like to consider myself one of the best of the rest. You know, you got your road course ringers like Michael Kruger, Tristan Maher, Cameron Caldwell. Those guys, you expect them always to be up front, but I'm usually one of the first ones behind those guys. So I'll expect myself to be around the maybe like 5th to 8th area for Watkins Glen. And, you know, any intermediate I expect myself to do good at. I know that I have the capability to win at any intermediate. So that's really my wheelhouse and what I like to drive the most.
All right, well, that sounds good. I wish you the best of luck on this one. And, of course, 85 laps led, taking it through to the checkered flag. Is there anything you want to say to the fans at home? Congratulations, it's your first win of the season.
Yeah, thanks to my friends and family who watch each week, support us, trying to build our league back up, make it great again. I'd like to thank my sponsors like Curve Hands Market, C2 Graphics, Corwell Health, ACJC Gaming. You can see all of my onboards uploaded weekly to ACJC Gaming on YouTube. And yeah, thanks to you for the great broadcast. Thanks for my team for being awesome teammates, and looking forward to next week.
All right, well, we'll see you over in Bristol. Good luck out there.
Thank you.
That was your race winner, Alex Curfin, and that rounds out our coverage for tonight. But don't you worry, we are continuing on nice and quickly for the next few weeks. As mentioned, next week 200 laps at the Last Great Coliseum, Bristol Motor Speedway, then down to Texas for a 200-mile intermediate run. A lot of drivers favor themselves there. Will be a heavyweight showdown, and then our road course up in upstate New York for Watkins Glen to round out the first half. 72 laps, so a bit of an endurance race there for these drivers. And then we'll be halfway done, and we'll get to see who really is a contender for this title. It'll be next 3 weeks here, as always. 8 p.m. starts on JCTV, so do not go anywhere because I will be there, and I'd love to see you all on for the ride. From Las Vegas Motor Speedway, it is Alex Curfin taking home the checkered flag. Thank you for watching, and we will see you next time.